All right, this will be module 3. So hopefully I can close that and not lose it. And let me go back to Zoom here. Should be able to go, okay, so I'm gonna go module 3. And coming back over 1, 2, and 3. So module 3, staffing and human capital. So this one, this module is looking from a perspective of staffing is an ethical or moral issue. And really the intent of this is to have an honest discussion or facilitate some honest discussion or thoughts about how systems use human capital. And so the intro to this one is that as educational leaders, we are making decisions throughout the year and throughout our careers on assignments for teachers and putting them into situations where we hope they are going to be successful. One of the things that I have come to learn working within the educational system and the organizations and working with the districts that I have is that there are times when systems make decisions on staffing and human capital that we know may not be the best decisions, but yet we make those decisions based on what's best for the adults, not necessarily what's best for the students. So a couple examples of that are ones that I work with directly. Do a lot of work with alternative education programs up and down the state. One of the things that I implore districts to do when they are designing alternative education programs are working to make theirs better is an understanding that you cannot force a teacher into that setting if that is not something that they really have a passion for. I have worked with districts where they set up programs and they actually will move teachers that are struggling at a specific school site or they're having issues with, and they will move them into the alternative ed programs. And so ultimately the outcome of that is you have the most needy students from behavioral, socio-emotional, and academic with potentially the most neediest teachers from an instructional or classroom management standpoint. And so those two things really don't match, and the most struggling students, which more often than not are minority, low-income students, are into situations where the instruction is not necessarily the best. I also have a note in here on high school and some things that take place at high school campuses pretty consistently that I've ran into just in my education career. So this one going forward, you've got some articles, teachers, and absences. So this is another way to look at it from a kind of a socio-emotional standpoint and what happens with teachers. Phenomenal article written by Dr. Bruno, who was my instructor in the doctoral program from UCLA. He has since passed away, but phenomenal work with GIS mapping and looking at staff attendance ratios and absences and the performance of the schools that those teachers go. Beginning teacher retention, holding on to good teachers, good article. Minority teachers, and then another article, uneven playing fields, assessing the teacher quality gap between advantaged and disadvantaged students. So kind of the intro that I was talking about, this is a good article on that. You've got module 3 discussion, which is going to go through the same way as the previous discussions, and then your individual topic literature review outline. So this one coming through, originally I had the actual literature review due the third weekend, and then realized that's probably not enough time to do the research that you need, make the determination. So what I'm hoping for out of this one is really you will have an outline of the key points that you're going to hit with your equity audit. And then this will guide you as you're writing your literature review, which we'll be doing week 7. So this is the outline to kickstart you and make sure you're making progress for that. So I hope you enjoy this module and thinking about staffing from kind of a social justice, moral, ethical perspective, and thinking about what your system does and how your system works with staffing within these issues.